Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So, dear Dharma friends, when we start this whole process of pandemic situation, like few months now, almost 3 months, 4 months, and when we start this, in that very moment, suddenly this everything shut down, and people had a little bit discomfort, uncomfort, and then the most of people thought the world now understanding the reality and the impermanence of the life, that the impermanence of this all the material things, and our lifestyle going to be changed, and a lot of people start to counting death every day, and they had a kind of like understanding that what is the reality of this life, what is underneath this all, that the social dogmas that we used to stuck is a kind of like an illusion. And a lot of people thought, oh, people going to become so spiritual now. This is a kind of like a time for everyone to transform themselves and learn the reality and understand the reality. But it's now almost ending this virus situation, and everybody trying to get back to ordinary lifestyle, and see what we experience around the world. And what happened, rather than people understanding the reality, rather than people get recognizing the truth, rather than people experience the very nature of the life and the reality of life, what is today we experiencing? What happened slowly during this pandemic time period, with this interval time, within this is that the space that we were resting, what happened deeper inside human heart, the greed, hatred, and the ignorance start to accelerate. And now you can see it start to come as another wave. So it's people waiting for the second wave of the virus. But finally what we experience now, the virus second wave already, people don't care it anymore. And now we have a bigger wave than that to deal in front of us. People's anger, hatred, and the jealousy, this everything. So during this resting time period, look what happened. And this is the very nature of the human mind. And this is what happening all the time. People are not going to learn like that when something happen in the outside world. We don't have that kind of behavior. The very behavior of us in a deeper, that we have our own way to go. So then how the world, that after this all, how the world should be more peaceful, calm, relaxed, more understandable. And even the worldly leaders, and look that when it come to China, and the China is the first place that hit the virus, and they closed down the entire city, and even no one knows how many people died in China yet. But look, and what happened, and before even the end this virus, the China start to overtake the entire these Eastern Asian countries, and they start to develop their power, and they are start to spread their power regarding the other the nations. So how people understand, even when it comes to worldly leaders. And after China, then the Italy got hit very badly, and after that it came to America. Look what happening today in America. people learning after this all, what happened? More than 100,000 people died. But people understand the very nature of life? No, people don't care. Why it happened like that way? It's all the time the same. Even deeper inside us, personally, when you analyze mostly, more than developing the spiritual path, the most people during this time period became more greedy and more angry personally and more frustrated, and most people became more ignorance during this pandemic time. That is the result that we get when we see this world all over the world. If the people became individual, if the people themselves, if they become wiser, generous, compassion, more understandable, we're not going to experience this world after the soul as an outcome. So we are the world. We that is mean. So we all responsible for that. So then at the same time, then we have to look what is happening inside us. So then ourselves, as much as we have what we have to develop. And remember, in deeper inside ourselves, we more have to develop the compassion, loving kindness. And at the same time, personally, we have to develop the art not to get disturbed from this outside, because very little thing, this outside things, if we get disturbed and our reaction start to multiply with that disturbed mind. And so whatever comes then bodily, with our bodily, verbally or mentally action, and start to, it kind of like a magnet, start to go out and catch something, and somebody disturb, and it multiply. So like that way it go everywhere. So that is that. So that's why we need a spiritual foundation for each and everyone, newly born child to elderly parents. We everyone every day we need a kind of like a spiritual foundation, because when we don't have that spiritual foundation, so whatever the success we build in our life, it always going to bring us different kind of difficulties. So then it is your responsibility then yourself. Always remember, it is not for a 1 day or 2 day. Every day, moment by moment, moment by moment, you have to develop this spiritual foundation within yourself. Even for your children, so whatever you teach, whatever you give, whatever you share with them, the very best gift that you can give to them, and start to teach them little by little to have a kind of like a spiritual foundation within themselves. Because if there is no spiritual foundation, the wherever they go, that how high they go, it doesn't matter, it's going to collapse. So when it comes to that spiritual foundation, the most important thing is developing the compassion in another way, and other side is developing the understanding. So that for understanding, we have to have an open mind. The understanding itself doesn't happen just by growing our body. It doesn't bring the understanding. You have to have inner effort to have the understanding. So where this balance can go, so that balance come with the compassion and the understanding or the wisdom. The very first thing that we have to understand, our life happening because of other people, other things. So that is the base that you have to be aware. And once you know that, you become little bit careful, and you become little bit humble, and then it open your mind to accept things, rather than if you start to become more egocentric person, what is happening naturally, your mind start to get close. And once the mind get close with the egocentric ideas or the self views, so whatever come out of your body or mind or the words, and it always look for the self-validity. You always look for rewards. You always look for your own, that the validity from others. So that way you become more disappointed. So then always remember the very important thing when it comes to wisdom and compassion and understanding the exactly how these things happening within us. So for that, the very basic thing, that developing the open mindset. For that you need the Shrutame Jnana. Shrutame Jnana means in one way that you have the open mind, and another way is you have the very systematic, basic, step-by-step practice to go towards the understanding. And Chintame Jnana, so whatever you see, whatever you accumulate as knowledge in the basic level, you have to look within yourself and experience it within yourself, and you have to practice with it. And when it comes to that bhavana jnana, in a deeper level, there is a understanding arise. And the compassion, when it develop the compassion, always you have to do something for others. So it is not thinking about yourself. Always you have to remember to do something for others. When you are able to balance these two paths that way, and you become a very comfortable person to yourself, and at the same time out of your life, there is no harm going to come to other people. So if you don't develop these two things, it doesn't matter whatever the personal experience that we go through, and it never going to end. The always, why? Because this everything in this entire world, the whole by the greed, hatred, and the delusion. And that going to always, that going to get lead the race. So then what we have to do? We have to accelerate the loving kindness, generosity, and compassion within ourselves, and we have to share it with others. And as much as you have to help for others to develop that around you. Why? Because otherwise somebody else start to plant the greed, hatred, or the delusion in different ways. So then you have responsibility yourself. Accelerate yourself, uplift yourself with the loving kindness, generosity, and compassion, and share it with others, and base your life with that qualities, and start to do something for others. And that way you can change their behavior. So otherwise there is no end, that day by day it's going to become different world than we think. But still, it is our responsibility to take this to our hand and do as much as you can. And every day, in every way, if you can perform your best with the loving kindness, generosity, and compassion, this greed, hatred, or the delusion cannot become powerful like this way. Because entire world, it doesn't matter politics, it doesn't matter religion, it doesn't matter economy, or any situation. If you look, the mostly that it become unbalanced, because when the greed or the hatred or the ignorance become powerful. So as a solution for that, only thing is we have to replace the people who can appreciate, who can understand the loving kindness, generosity, and compassion. So from where that people going to find? You are the one who can do that. So you are the one who around you, you have to slowly remember during this time, because this is a transit time period. And you see entire world, it's going in a different way than you think. You had a very calm, relaxed moment, and everybody is that had a very resting period. Now see entire world how start to come with something else. And how it happened? Because in that underneath the bottom of the sea, Even though surface level we see the calmness in the underneath that, because the greed or the hatred or the ignorance boiling. So that's why this is happening. So it is not the way that we think. So then practicing meditation, it is just not closing your eyes yourself, and you have to see through the situation. You have to see through the events and understand that, and perform yourself and do your best around you. So the very first thing, then don't get disturbed yourself for any reason. And at the same time, whatever you do, always remember, think about yourself and think about others. Others mean not just only the human beings, the all living beings, the nature, environment, this everything included. Why? That is the world. So the world itself is this everything, and that is why we are like this, and we are means the world. So you have to see this both way. It is not just one way thinking. Once you have that understanding, and little by little yourself, and with the practice, and slowly reduce inside you the reactive nature with the greed, hatred, or the delusion as much as you can. And whenever you get hurt, whenever you get disappointed, whenever you get upset, and little bit be relaxed, don't worry about it, it will go away. And if you try to react with that disturbed mind, stop it, wait little bit, don't react, don't say anything, don't do anything, don't go anywhere, just be relaxed, calm down, and stay. It will pass. And after that, and whatever the moment come, it going to become better moment for you. And in that moment you will see your own mind, the way it behaved when it was angry, disappointed, unhappy. So then, and that understanding will help you to move forward. The problem is mostly when the anger comes, when the emotions arise, when the hatred arise, that when the disappointment arise, when the sadness arise, and right away we react. And that reaction has power to multiply. When it go to others, it multiply. It's same like the way that how this virus spread through one person, it has power to at least within 3 days to go to 16 people within 3 days. So like that, your one thought, the compassion, loving kindness, generosity has the same power. But why we cannot that do that way? Why it not happening? It not happening, there is one reason. Mostly we are not genuine. We are more fake. That's why it bounce back to us, because we fake. Our life mostly fake. And as a husband, wife, as children, and as brothers and sisters, as children and parents, as friends, as partners, as monks, as leaders, and as the mostly the religious leaders or anything you name, as business or the communication, this everything, can't you see, it's mostly fake. That's why it bounced back. So what is the solution then? Be genuine. If you become genuine, remember, it doesn't matter the world, you're going to become good yourself, and that good has power to transform a lot of things, has power to transform a lot of things to around you. So that is what you need. Be genuine yourself. When it comes to vipassana level of understanding, when you genuinely experience something, it transforms you. So, but mostly we used to fake. We are not real mostly. That is why this everything that happened this way. So you are the one who can do something, and you have power to change it. How? Always remember, be genuine. It doesn't matter the right or wrong. It is not the thing. It's not about the good or bad. When you become genuine, real, that in that reality, there is some truth going to shine. When you become genuine, in that very moment, there is a light arise in you. That light has power to destroy this darkness. So always little by little, moment by moment, moment by moment, and try to develop that quality inside you. So with that, you become the light to this darkness. So I hope this will help for you. And with this, I bless upon you by the power of this good practice. May all of you be well, happy, and peaceful. May no harm come to you. May no difficulties come to you. May no problems come to you. May you also have the patience, courage, understanding, and determination to meet and overcome inevitable difficulties in your life. During this time period, may everyone stay healthy and safe. And finally, may all of you attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sabbityo vajjantu sabbarogo vinasatu mate bhavatandarayo sukhi dīghāyuko bhava. Ittavata ca ammehi sampadam punya sampadam sabbe devanumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Sabbe bhutanumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Sabbe sattanumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Idamme punya kammang asavakkayavang hotu sabba dukkha pamuncatu. Bless you.